wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain. I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you change. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain. And lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm
tries to hold on to the bottom. Here comes Gisette. They make contact. They touch once, twice, 3 times.
Oh, trouble! Oh, no, Rocky into the wall. Big crash front straightaway. Huge crash coming into the tri-oval. No, Rocky up and into the air. They're beating and banging. Burn on the bottom. Cosman up top. Cosman, I think. No. Breyer by 1/1000th of a second. Joseph, no! At the line, Thunhorse pulls the win out at the stripe.
Oh, he saves it! What's going to happen here?
Here comes the canvas. Get your foot in. He got it. He's got it. He's got it. The canvas is going to win.
Once again, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway from Speedway, Indiana. Day number 2, the last day of qualifying for the FTF Rectangle 500. It's bump day and pole day, all in one, and we're so glad to have you with us here on FTF.GG. Glad to have you along for the ride, and the booth is jam-packed once again here today. Casual Wednesday, I guess, here for us. Jacob Pitts, Joey Tebbin, and Joey Atterbury. I don't think we ever decided how we're going to refer to the two of you, because Joey and Joey, but we'll figure it out as time goes on. Joey Tebbin, though, we'll start with you, and we're back here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, set to go with the Dallara IR18s once more, and this is it for the guys outside the top 30. This is their one last chance to try and make the big show on Friday.
And suddenly things may have gotten slightly more dramatic, because we just heard Ryan Naraki. I think he's pulled out from the race on Friday night. So suddenly it's not just a last row shootout. It might just be a last row plus one more spot shootout. There might just be 4 spots open now. Suddenly, just like the door behind me, another door is open for another driver in this field.
We're going to have to check on that. Naraki was in the 29th position after qualifying yesterday. So how we're going to do this is they're going to go back to qualifying from yesterday, and they're going to slide everybody up one, which means Ethan Corder to 29th. Seth Eggert is in the big show for Friday. All the weight in the world, Joey Atterbury, is off Seth Eggert's shoulders now because he was the first guy out just barely. Now he is safely in Friday's FTF Rectangle 500.
Take a big sigh of relief for Seth Eggert there, but he's only one of several drivers that get the lucky end of the stick. There's a lot of guys that are still looking out on the field that are going to have to bump their way into qualifying and, like you said later, get even to the fast guys.
Yeah, those fast guys are going to have the last crack at it here at the Speedway. And so the track will have a little more rubber to it. And we saw yesterday that the times started to increase as time went on as drivers continued to rubber in the racetrack. So how things work tonight, we go pretty much in reverse order from last night. Slowest cars in the field, they go out first. So we start with the slowest car on the racetrack. That was Michael Deitch from last night. He goes out first. So the guys that did not set a time yesterday or wound up with zeros as their time, they kind of get sprinkled in throughout tonight. But for the most part, it's if you set a time, we're going in reverse order. So Deitch is the first driver to go out. We'll go all the way up through what would have been Seth Eggert. And now I got to cheat here and look. That's going to put, well, Drat, that's cleared. I think that's going to put Robert Lowry then as our last guy to go. He is now officially the bump, and we'll see how this pans out. And, of course, after that's done, we'll know the final 3 that make the race. And then, Joey, we get to settle the top 12 here in really what is one shot unless you make the top 6.
Yeah, one shot for the fast 12. The 12 fastest drivers in terms of speed yesterday. They're going to go from 12th place Nate Stewart to first place Josh Parker. Then we have the top 6 of those that have run. All 6 of them will go out one more time. We'll determine for realsies the first 2 rows of this grid. And then finally, in about 2 hours' time, we will officially have 33 drivers, 33 cars set for the FTF Rectangle 500 on Friday night. There's a lot of stuff to be solved before then, but we'll get there.
And when we don't quite have the drama that we had last night with Seth the Merchant pulling his time, going back out there and going from 15th well in the show to P3 to lock himself in to requalify tonight. We won't quite see that today, but we're still going to see a good show here from Indianapolis. So just breaking the news here to the rest of the field at Noraki is out. That puts, again, Ethan Corder into the 29th position, and Seth Eggert, who got bumped really late in the going yesterday, he is back in and he will race on Friday. He does not have to worry about needing to qualify himself in tonight. So that still leaves the back row wide open, and we're going to see some 23 cars go at it, I believe. And looks like we're going to get rolling here right around 8:15 Eastern. So another roughly 3.5 minutes until the first car hits the speedway. And again, we will begin with Michael Deitch, who, Joey Atterbury, he struggled a little bit in his runs from last night.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lap times, and as you said, the slowest of the cars that actually put a time on the board. We're going to see if that's going to change here tonight, because he was pretty far off the pace. But look, it's a new day, a new time to set some new laps out there, and that's the time that you got to focus. Go out there, do your 4 laps, get your best qualifying effort that you can, and just hope that you can move up the board a little bit into that top 30 and possibly bump somebody out.
Just going to have to wait and see. So we will have a couple of guys here after Deitch that are going to get shoehorned in that did not set a time yesterday. Timu Toika, I believe he said he slept through it and missed it. Jamie Ritchie Price was stuck in traffic. He was in the express line trying to get onto the racetrack at the end of qualifying last night, was just a couple of cars short of getting out and setting a time. And then Brandon Gass, he had an obligation. He could not make it last night. But he now has a shot here tonight to try and put it onto or into the show.
Yeah, especially the guys who weren't here last night. They're going to be the ones I'm really thinking about right now because, you know, for guys like Michael Deitch, for a couple of the other drivers who had attempts last night, we kind of know basically the limit of what we can expect from them. But for the drivers who weren't here last night, this is their one chance. They've got one singular chance to not screw it up. You do get one mulligan if you do crash on your warm-up lap, just like you did last night. But if you mess up your attempt, if you're too slow, you get one shot tonight. There's no more express lane. There's no more retries. It is one shot qualifying at its one shottiest.
A one and you're done here from Indianapolis to either put yourself in or you'll be forced to watch from the stands on Friday. And we'll see how everything goes here as Justin Malillo still going through the procedures for tonight that half the drivers probably aren't listening to if we figured out anything from how last night went. But Michael Deitch is eagerly ready to go here to get us on And Justin now says, I hope they were listening. He's on all teams. There you go. Good job, Justin. Proud of you. All right, so there you see the table of doom. If you're in red, you're out. If you're in gray, you are in. Now, the times you see are from yesterday. How this works, if you set a faster lap, that faster lap then takes over. But if you set a lap slower than what you set yesterday, you fall back on that slower time. So it'll be really interesting to see how these guys do. And, we'll see what happens here. Anyway, there you see Michael Deitch eagerly awaiting to get onto the racetrack here and get rolling. In this
I feel you, Michael. I just want to get going here too.
Yeah.
I'm sick of waiting. It's 8:15. I want to see some cars out here doing their 225 miles per hour best. I want to get going here. Fire the pistol.
He resets, gets into the box. He has to pull up to the line where the cone is and stop the car. And then Justin will give him the all clear. That's Justin's car right there in front of him, the traction car. He is in the show for tomorrow. I believe he's starting in the 24th position. He's got to pull up a little bit more to the line here. Keep going. Keep going. No whammy. No whammy. No whammy. And now he's good to go. They'll drop the gates. And out goes Michael Deitch. He crashed in his first attempt yesterday, and then it was in his second attempt. After almost missing it, he got the ability to go out of the racetrack, was one of the last cars to go, and put up the slowest actual time up on the board, a 2:23.455 in his 4-lap average.
Jacob, I want to jump in here. These cars have trouble in turn 3 on the outlap here. We'll see if Michael's able to hang on to it through here. And here, sure enough,
yeah, there he goes.
Spin in turn 3 first lap.
He did not take the green. He does have one mulligan. So he's going to use his reset. And we'll see how this works out. Here is the replay, and it's just going to be, again, turn number 3. That's been the trouble spot for a lot of guys so far this weekend, coming back onto the racetrack, and they just can't hold it in turn 3, their first turn up to almost full speed.
Just literally right as Joey was predicting that was going to happen, it happens on cue. That's why we have Joey Atterbury in the booth here, because we're just predicting things. You might have manifested that for Michael Deitch. He might have to yell at you for that.
A little bit like the commentator's curse out there, and he's going down the back straight right now for his second attempt at turn 3. We'll see how this one plays out.
Here we go. Into turn 3. Deitch, again, a little bit away from that inside line. Keeps it pointed in the right direction through turn 4. Brings it up toward the wall. And he will get the green flag, and now he kind of creeps away from that outside wall a little bit. We saw the guys that had the speed were tucked right up against that outside wall down the straightaways. His laps are now going. 4 laps to try and make the show.
He turned in a little bit too late into turn 1 there. You could see him just wash out up into the wall again in turn 2. I think he's probably turned the weight jacker down a little bit. He probably had it turned up too high and scared himself with that spin in turn 3. Now I think, frankly, he's turned it up a little bit too low for his liking. He's getting too much understeer. He's too tight in the corners, and you can see the effects on that on exit every single time. He's not really getting to the apexes in the first place, and on exits, he's having to lift a little bit to not get into the wall.
See what this time looks like here. Hits the yard of bricks. And for Michael Deitch, Bueller. Bueller. Got to clear it out from yesterday. Hold on. It was a 40.190 on his first attempt. He's coming around here to complete his second lap. Now I think we might be getting somewhere, maybe. And here's lap number 2. It is faster, a 40.088. But Deitch is still going to need some help here in order to make it on speed.
And I'm going to have to agree with Joey because he's got a great name, but he's also calling exactly that what I'm seeing on the screen is just he's not getting down to apex, and therefore he's leaving a lot of speed out on the table. And not only speed, but lap time. When you go in this high line or middle groove, you're essentially making the racetrack longer for each lap.
Lap number 3. To the line, Jamie Ritchie Price is already down and away off the pit lane. Deitch with a 40.1. And looks like our timing's having a bit of a moment. We'll try and get that worked on. As Deitch coming around to complete his 4th and final lap. And it does not look like this will be a time good enough to put him into the FTF Rectangle 500.
Yeah, when the first lap time starts with a 40, when it starts with a 4, it's 40-second lap time, you're probably not in great shape. But Michael Deitch, this is his first attempt at an FTF event ever, and this is a very, very difficult event to make your first attempt at in the first place. So hopefully he comes back in the future, comes back for some further events. And I also don't think he's completing his 4th lap here. I think he's pulled off on the 3rd. No, this is the 4th lap, but he only completed 3.
No, he did do all 4.
He did?
Yes.
We're all getting screwed up, I guess.
Yep, so that time you see on the board there from Deitch, that is legitimate, a 2:24.227, still the slowest time out of everybody that has finished their 4-lap run. So now here is Jamie Ritchie Price, and a solid first lap here, guys, a 39.707, so in the ballpark.
Yeah, that was a really good first lap from Jamie Ritchie Price out here, and really loose off of turn 3 on his second lap, scrubbed some speed, but kept it off of the wall. We'll see what that does for his overall lap time and the momentum heading into lap 3.
Lap number 2, a 39.816. That's going to translate still above 226 miles an hour. If he can keep the consistency up, he could have a shot at it.
That's been the difficult thing, though, all, I guess, week long. We've only been here for 2 days, but we talked about it all night on yesterday. When you lose a full 1/10 of a second between lap 1 and lap 2, it's hard to stop the bleeding there. Hopefully, Jamie Ritchie Price is able to do that. Hopefully, he can keep it consistent in the next 3 laps here, but he had a good first lap. He had a good start. It's all about stopping the bleeding. I read about some of his previous excursions here in open wheel 500 races. He said he hasn't finished a single one of them, but right now things are looking decent to be able to get a chance.
He's
and as I say
spinning!
that, he spins.
And he was having such a good run. This is his only attempt, and he will not make it. On lap number 4, Jamie Ritchie Price was on a lap that would have put himself into the FTF Rectangle 500. Instead, calamity coming out of turn number 1. And the Aussie will not race on Friday.
Really unfortunate for Jamie. You know, I mentioned that he had that really big loose moment out of 2 on lap 2, and then also had a big moment out of 4 on lap 3, and then ultimately going into turn 1 on lap 4 came around on him.
He does not have a time to fall back on from yesterday. This was his first attempt at qualifying. He does not have another go at it. And now he's kind of... And yep, we're going to have to redo Gass's time because he had the toe there off of Ritchie Price down the front straightaway. Gass just took the green flag. So they're going to redo this here. He does get to restart since this is a race control call. And I believe Brandon Gass is going to have to come back in and pretty much toe, restart, and try it again. Now he's blinking a little bit, but the implications there from Jamie Ritchie Price then hurt Brandon Gass's attempt, and he'll have to regroup and try it once more.
I think Jamie was still kind of trying to finish that attempt, just desperately just to get a time on the board in case some sort of calamity happened to the rest of the field. But yeah, at that point, that car was wrecked. He had grass all over the tires. There was no recovering that run. So I think he basically got forced to be waved off there. And now the track is clean. Brandon Gass does actually get a second shot here. I don't think that counts as his mulligan. So he might be one of the few drivers who gets a third chance if he really needs it. But hopefully he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think that counts as his mulligan. We'll find out if something happens, I guess, from Justin Melillo here. But as long as Gass takes the green flag, he will be committed from that point. So here's Brandon Gass, another one of the guys that did not set a time yesterday in qualifying. Missed the show. And this is pretty much his lone chance to try and make the race. Jamie Ritchie Price was within less than 2.5 miles of putting himself in. Instead, he's on the outside and will not race Friday. Takes the green flag.
Sometimes I wish we could see that in real life. The livery just changes mid-corner from a normal black trading or a normal black iRacing default livery. Now we got the yellow submarine out here.
Zach Johnson, everybody.
Zach Johnson just performed a paint miracle. We should be praising him. He just broke physics.
Let's see if Brandon Gass can break the stopwatch here. Comes across the line. Pretty solid opening lap, a 39.743. That's a 226.455. Problem is, that first lap slower than one Harry Grindell. Grindell sits 32nd, so he's got to keep the pace up. He cannot fall off really fast if he wants to take that opening lap into the FTF Rectangle 500.
Oh, he flirts with the wall off a 3. I'm not sure if he actually got into the wall, but wow, was it close. He was way wide off a 3, and then that compromised his line going into 4. Sure, we're going to see it suffer on the second lap, and sure enough, another big drop-off to lap 2.
He didn't hit the wall, but he got very, very close to it, and that may be the lap that kicks him out. He's got 2 more to go, but a huge drop-off, almost a full mile an hour from lap 1 to not 2. He needs to stop the bleeding and go faster on this lap by a good bit.
It could have been worse, though. He did a good job to recover and only fall to a 225.7 on that lap. He was actually faster than Robert Lowry on lap 1. Then he was slower than Robert Lowry by the same amount on lap 2. This is where it's all going to matter. Can he switch it back? Can he improve on this third lap here? No, it's still a 39.9 or 225.5. That is slower than Robert Lowry again. He's still slower.
Yeah, he's in trouble now. Last lap for Brandon Gass. Through 3 and 4. And he'll need a monster lap 4 to put himself in the picture. Down the front straightaway to the yard of bricks. A 225.819, that puts him 35th. Brandon Gass will not race. Just short of the top 33. And he will not make the FTF Rectangle 500. Nick Roten on the racetrack. See what he can do. Takes the green flag. Actually, nope, just that was the end of his first lap, and it's a 39.867. He's in trouble already.
Yeah, not great for Nick Roten on lap 1, and I do feel bad for Brandon Gass because everything was going right for him, but just that one little error that really killed everything there. It's a big Gass shame.
Coming up to finish lap number 2. While we're doing that, let's talk with the man that was so close to making the show. Jamie Ritchie Price joins the program now.
Indeed, Jamie Ritchie Price. I guess just talk us through what happened there in turn 1.
I'm just absolutely kicking myself. Just turning like normal, and I thought I was not down far enough. Just turned an inch more, and the back end got away with me. I'm just absolutely kicking myself from that.
So it was one attempt here tonight, and that was it. But we do have 2023 to look forward to. Maybe not necessarily with the IR18 competition, but lots of other, FTF competition to come up in 2023. What are you looking forward to once the year flips over in a couple days' time?
I guess the FTF 500, I think, in 45 days. I might have a gander of that. Might look at the schedule of what you got on, see if I'm interested in anything, but it's great being here. Just to even qualify, if it was only for the one attempt. It's just shame to end where it was for these current, I can't even say, for the open-wheeled cars, I guess, no longer being able to stream in that, but it's just gutted all around.
Yeah, understandably gutted, but condolences from us on the mistake tonight, but hopefully we do see you soon. Hopefully there's some more attempts in Jamie Ritchie Price land and FTF land.
Now, you saw it right there. Sorry, Jamie, you saw it right there. Nick Roten was on his fourth lap. He got the wall on the back straightaway. It slowed him down, and that's it. He does not get a lap in, but he falls back on his time from yesterday, a 2:25.536. Nick Roten will not race in the FTF Rectangle 500. Here's Tyler Williams, who crashed about every car he drove trying to make the show yesterday. This is his last gasp.
Tyler Williams actually has a pretty good first lap here at a 39.731, and we'll see if lap 2 can kind of hold up. That's been the big fall-off point, whether it be drivers making mistakes or the car getting loose on them. Lap 2 has really seemed to have the big fall-off, and looks like Tyler Williams is able to kind of stop that bleeding a good lap 2.
Teemu Toika is getting lined up, ready to go. For Tyler J. Williams, 2 laps in the 2:26s here. As long as he doesn't fall off too much on laps 3 and 4, that could be enough to put him in the program.
Yeah, things are looking very, very good, but it hasn't been a question about Tyler Williams' speed in the past. It's just been a question of whether he can actually finish all 4 laps, whether he can keep the car under him for 10 miles. He's done it so far. Lap number 3. Is it still going to be in the 2:26s? Not quite, but it's still a 2:25.9. This is a phenomenal run. He just needs to keep the car under him for 2 more miles.
If he can put together a good lap right here, this may put him well out in front of Robert Lowry, who is currently in 31st. This could be a huge time, and if he could have put this run together yesterday, he could have been looking at a position in the mid-20s. Here he comes through 3 and 4. Maybe a little wiggle on exit, but here he comes to the line. We'll see where this puts him. At the line, will he make the show? He is in the 2:26.104. He is 31st. A huge lap from Tyler Williams, and that might put him in the program.
Get that one up, yeah. I'm going to break out the Australian accent for the Australian there. That's how hyped I am, and I can guarantee you that he's just as hyped for that.
And we hit a commercial. Right as he hits the line.
Oh, no.
I promise we didn't try that. Teemu Toika's on the racetrack right now, a 39.731 on his first go at it.
By the way, I don't believe there's commercials on YouTube, but maybe I shouldn't endorse you switching from the Twitch.
Well,
guys, on Teemu's, he actually had another really good first lap, just like we saw out of previously, and we'll see if he can keep up the momentum on lap 2. Really clean driving lines from Teemu here, and we'll see what this one holds up as he crosses start-finish. Little bit more of a fall-off for lap 2 here for Toika.
this is lap number 3 here for Toyka. He fell off on lap number 2, and right now, still both laps in the 2:26 range. He could put himself in a solid spot like Tyler J. Williams here. He's a little bit off on lap number 2, but lap 1 was exactly the same compared to the 4. Let's see lap number 3. That is faster. No, just a tick slower than Williams. But if Toyka can make this last lap clean, this could put him inside the top 33.
And Timu was one of those drivers I was looking at coming into tonight. He didn't get a chance to qualify last night, but he has been on iRacing for so long. He's got so much experience in all sorts of iRacing competition, from road to pro to some IndyCar stuff to whatever. Timu Toyka is a driver who knows how to drive something fast, and right now he's excelling at that. Through turn 4, completely clean. Let's see if he can make it.
Down to the start-finish line. It's going to be a good lap. Question is, where will it put him at the line? He will be 32nd, a 2:25.984. Another mile an hour faster than the guys behind him. That bumps out Grindel. Lowry is the cut line. A lot of guys still to go, but already 2 drivers have been bumped from the top 33.
Impressive stuff out of a lot of these competitors so far, and this is exactly the point of bump day. Get out there, get after it, and put your last-ditch effort in.
Man, oh man. Well, let's talk with the man that is now in. He races on Friday. Seth Eggert joins us.
Well, hello.
Yeah, suddenly this day got a lot less stressful for you, Seth.
Yeah, it's been a long day as it is. I'm glad I don't have to sit and run again. As much fun as it would have been in the now number 57 kicking the tires winged car.
So what are you going to be doing for the rest of the night? You just want to hang out here in the booth? You going to go over to the virtual press box? What's the plan for Seth Eggert now that you don't have 2 hours of stress in front of you?
Figured I'd hang out, chat with Justin, chat with some of the guys, and just have fun watching those trying to make the field. This car is something. This car in the track combo is something that has been special for me for quite a while. If it wasn't for this car, this track, this Ray Kingsbury, who missed the field unfortunately, and his team way back when, I don't know if I'd be doing journalism today. So I have to thank him, and where he essentially set me on a path way back when, about 10 years ago, that I'm even a esports editor at Kicking Tires and a staff writer there.
Yeah, it's a very influential community, a very influential car on iRacing. I think there's a ton of us that have very similar stories to that this was the car, this was the combination that really helped us fall in love with iRacing and with motorsports. But congratulations on making the field here. Congratulations on sitting in 30th, and we'll see you on Friday night, or maybe we'll talk to you before the end of the night. Who knows?
Well, hopefully not before the end of the night, because that might mean I'm in the garage and not in victory lane.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A rough go at it here. Jeremy Clapper Newell, his 4-lap average of 2:25.293. That puts him 48th. He will not race on Friday. Here is Corey Cook now, making his final shot to race. For Clapper, a better run at it than yesterday, but it's not enough to put him in the show. And here's Corey Cook, wrapping his first lap up here at the line. Let's see lap 1, a 39.758.
A good
Just
first.
a hair.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say a good first lap, but most importantly, something I'm noticing out of Corey's car is that it seems to be in the racetrack. He's not fighting it at all, and that usually leads to consistency, but these guys always prove me wrong out here.
Yeah, for those of you just joining us, Randall Rocky, who qualified for the race yesterday, he had to drop out. Therefore, he can't make it on Friday, so that bumped up everybody yesterday by 1. That put Seth Eggert in the show and adjusted the cut line accordingly. Lap number 2 here from Corey Cook. As he rockets back to turn number 1, he needs some help on these last 2 laps.
And it's not looking great for the forklift driver from Marion, South Carolina, but crazier things have happened in Indianapolis. There is always the possibility of picking up a little bit of speed if you have just made a few mistakes on the first couple of laps of your run, but right now, things are looking fairly straightforward for Corey Cook. It doesn't look like any of those first 2 laps were mistake-filled or were slowed down artificially. This looks like it is just the pace that Corey has. To the line for lap number 3. Is Corey going to fall even further into the 225s? Just by a little bit. Not that much fall off on lap 3.
Still going to need a Herculean effort here on lap number 4 to get him in. Pretty much, if your first 2 laps aren't in the 226s, we can pretty much write you off just with how high the bar has been set by Williams, Toyka, and yesterday by Lowry.
Yeah, I honestly think that the 226.1, I think you're going to need a 226 4-lap average to make it in. I don't know necessarily if anybody else has that speed, but I'd say that's certainly a benchmark to try and follow. And unfortunately for Corey Cook, not quite there.
And his 4-lap average will put him in the 37th position. So an improvement, but not enough. Corey Cook will not race tomorrow. Here is the next car onto the racetrack. That is Bryce Saucier. Currently sitting 43rd. We'll see after his run at it here how things work out. His lap number 1 just off from where it was yesterday.
The all-important lap 2. Saucier coming out of turn 4 here, and we'll see as he crosses start-finish once again, if he has this big fall-off. The cars that are having the significant fall-off are the ones that are not getting into the show, and not too bad. A consistent lap 2, but it's a little slow.
Looks like Michael Klein may not be able to make it tonight to put in another attempt. He may not be able to make it. He's currently 45th on speed and would have to rely on his time from yesterday, a 2:25.443. Not enough to put him into the show. Completing lap number 3 is Saucier at the line. Still falling off a 2:25.530 that last time around. He's going to need some help on lap 4.
Very, very far off the wall in turn 2 there. Just, again, not carrying as much speed as this car possibly could. It's another just a tale of a driver that isn't quite comfortable. He hasn't quite found the rhythm that he needs to be able to extract all the speed out of this car over the 4 laps. Just losing a little bit of time on the exits. Off of turn 4 for the final time. Again, he's just scrubbing so much speed through turn 3 that he can't carry enough speed through turn 4. It's going to be a disappointing run for Saucier here, but again, he's one of those drivers who doesn't have much experience in these cars. It was a valiant first effort.
42nd, the 225.751, not enough for Bryce Saucier. He will not race on Friday. Here's Jay Cook. He was in at one point in the program yesterday, and his lap number 1 just starting, and let's see what he can do. Yeah, 43rd at the end of the day yesterday, but there was a point where he was looking pretty good as far as his lap time. We'll see what happens.
He was really shallow in turn 2 on the entry. It seemed to work out okay throughout the entire corner, but one thing that definitely does is shave distance off of the racetrack. As long as it doesn't scrub speed, it's kind of the double edge of the sword.
A 226.347, going to need to be pretty close here on this lap to have a shot at it.
It is weird. He was super shallow, like Joey said, in turn 1 on lap 1. And then on lap 2, he tried to kind of overcorrect himself, and he was a little bit too wide. He turned in a little bit too late. He's just not quite found the rhythm here, but if anything, that might help him a little bit. If he's able to find a little bit more speed, that might help him consistency-wise. If he was artificially slow on lap 1, if he can just minimize the errors here, keep the consistency up, he might be able to keep it above the 226s, but it's going to come down to what this lap's going to be at the line. He wasn't quite faster, but he's still in the 226s.
Identical. Just 7/1000ths of a second between lap 1 and lap number 2. That consistency helping Jake Cook out. He's going to need to keep it up here on laps 3 and 4.
Consistency indeed. We've always seen the fall off. That's what's really been the downfall of a lot of the competitors that have gone so far. And like you said, Jacob, identical lap 1 and lap 2.
Toward the line. A 225.864. Let's see what lap 4 has here for Jake Cook. This could be enough.
Doing my mental math right now, I'd say his average is probably around the 226.1 margin right now. He needs this 4th lap to not fall into the low 225s right now. If he can keep it about a 225.7, 225.6 here on lap 4, he's probably going to be good through turn 3 that time. He almost clipped the curb. He was certainly playing with fire, but it looks clean. It looks good. Jay Cook could be in the field here.
To the line, Jay Cook. Will it be enough? Yes, a 226.070. He's in. Toika's the cut line. Robert Lowry is out.
And that's what he wanted to cook. Finally.
It was, so looking at those 4 lap times, lap 1, lap 2, on top of each other for consistency. He had a little bit of fall off, but once again, laps 3 and lap 4 were near identical in pace. Just great consistency with minimal fall off over the course of all 4 laps.
Bill Colley II. Onto the racetrack, his last chance to make the show.
I think I did just see Teemu Toika's reaction in the chat. Unfortunately, I can't repeat it, but I can think you can probably imagine what he's thinking right now. Now that he is on that bump spot, now that he is the last driver below the 226s, I really think you're going to need a 226 mile per hour run to make the field. And Teemu Toika, it's probably cold in Finland right now, but he's still going to be sweating somehow. It's going to be like a sauna in there.
Lap 1 here for Colley. Colley had an average speed of 225.136 mile an hour in his run yesterday. Let's see what lap 1 brings him here. A little jerky down the front straightaway. A 39.871. That's going to be in the 225 range. Colley in trouble early.
He was just a little bit up off of the racetrack on his first lap. He's a little bit closer to the curbs and turns 1 and 2 on lap number 2 here as he's rounding turn 3 once again, kind of more in the middle of the racetrack. And I think from these really fast competitors, we're seeing them flirt with that curb. You don't want to touch the curb, but you got to maximize your racetrack and you got to shorten the distance around it.
Ryan Pandicio, the next guy to go. He is already down and away. Lap number 3 for Colley. And at this point, he's just on a joyride around the racetrack.
Yeah, might as well be, but there's worse places to do a joyride than at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the IR18, so it might not be a run into the field for Bill Colley, but it's a feel-good story to have him here either way. We've heard from him that he was just so active at places like Atomic Speedway in Ohio and in his local racing communities. Had some troubles a couple years ago with some health issues, but he's back. He's back on iRacing. He's getting back in the racing world, and I'm very happy to have Bill Colley here, and might not put him in the field, but it's a very beautiful car. It stands out, and I can guarantee you this won't be the last time we see him around here in FTF land.
Coming to wrap up his last lap. Collie to the line. Will not be enough to put him in the 500. A 4-lap average of 225.301. It's faster than yesterday, but not enough to put him in the show. Here's Ryan Pandisio. His lap 1, not looking good.
Oh, and he got really tight off of turn 2 right there on the start of his second lap. He was just shallow on entry, and the car pushed all the way up towards the wall. That's going to scrub a ton of speed out of this lap number 2. And I want to go back to Joey's point. I think you're right. I think these cars are going to have to qualify at a 226 average to be in the show.
A decent lap 2, but still the fall off is there. Goes from a 226.006 to a 225.717 from lap 1 to lap 2. Pandisio gonna need some help.
Yeah, it's honestly tracking slower than his attempt last night. He was very consistent last night. That's the one thing I noticed about his run that was especially notable. He wasn't the fastest in the world. He was 42nd, but he was exceptionally consistent. He only fell off over the course of the entire run by about 1/10 of a second per lap. He is falling off a little bit more this time. I don't know if he's changed something. He is consistent again, so he hasn't fallen off a full 10th of a second yet, but he still is not quite quick enough to break into the conversation for the top 30. He's still consistent, just not consistently fast enough.
It's his last lap. Brayton Laster, the next car to go. He just got his green flag. Pandisio getting the checkered flag. And at the line, the 4-lap average for Ryan Pandisio is good enough for 43rd, a 225.662. He will not race tomorrow. Well, of course he won't race tomorrow because the race is Friday. He won't race Friday either. Here's Brayton Laster.
I'm currently staring at Brayton Laster right now because his camera has just shown up on our camera feed here. He's gone even more pizza-y on this run. I don't know how much good luck that's going to bring him, but he's got the pizza shirt now. Still the good old pizza sheets as there were last night. There's probably some kind of pizza, Joe, you can make with Ryan Pandisio, some kind of deep dish pizza, pan, whatever, but hopefully Brayton Laster has a little bit of better luck this time than Pandisio did, or a little bit better speed, I should say.
Got a little extra weight on the car right now. It's not quite as fast as he needs it to be. His first lap slower than it was yesterday. We'll see what lap number 2 looks like. You can already see the disappointment on his face. Lap number 2, not much better. And Laster in trouble.
Laster is indeed in trouble. That was a big fall off. And once again, the cars that are able to keep it consistent on that fall off are the ones that are advancing in. And maybe the pizza theme needs to change up. You know, I've seen some Top Ramen jumpsuits that are out there as well. Maybe it's a different food group that he needs to try.
Well, if you want to talk about Top Ramen and IndyCar, you just got to look at Santino Ferrucci's head.
Wow.
He's not listening.
Lap 3. 225.615. Yikes.
Yeah, you can kind of see Brayton's facial expressions as the run is going on. Every time he comes to the line, he's just kind of shaking his head. I think he knows that the speed isn't necessarily there, but, you know, I think after this, he's going to take the cover off of the keyboard over there, play us a couple tunes. He'll still be in a good mood after this. He's not going to make the show probably, but maybe we'll have to get him in the booth on race day and he can do some interstitial songs for us, maybe in the cautions.
Kind of like in between innings.
Take me out
baseball.
to the speedway.
Well, unfortunately for Brayton Laster, he's taking that thing out back at 225.801. P40, he will not race on Friday. Down the front straightaway now, Jordan McGraw. Let's see what he can do.
And that run for Laster wasn't crackerjack. It was just peanuts.
McGraw, as you see, 41st on the board yesterday. Roughly a 225.788 is what he set. Obviously, that position has been bumped as Cook, Williams, and Toyka took over the top 3 spots. Well, let's see what he can do here on lap number 1, coming to the line. For McGraw, a 226.444. Gonna need some help.
It was actually a pretty good turns 1 and 2. He kind of lost the groove in 3 and 4 on lap 1, but I sound like a broken record over here. It's all about this fall off here to lap 2. We'll see if Jordan McGraw keeps the momentum up or if he sees the similar fall off that we've seen out of a lot of the competitors so far.
Lap 2 in the books. Stays in the 226s. He may have a shot.
It's entirely possible, but McGraw struggled last night with consistency. He was kind of the opposite of Pandicio. He was not able to be consistent over the entirety of the 4-lap qualifying, and it is a difficult thing to do. The reason why both Joey and I keep going on about it is because you can't just be consistent. It's not just a thing you can go out and do without practicing it. It's exceptionally difficult because you want to be sending absolutely everything you have at this track on every single lap. You want to be completely committed, but you also don't want to destroy the tires on lap 1. You don't want to completely scrub them on lap 1 and lose all your speed on the following laps. Unfortunately for Jordan McGraw, he is continuing to scrub speed. He's still above the 226s on average, but he needs to make sure he doesn't continue losing time here on lap 4.
We'll see if lap number 4 has anything for him. Driver of the 34. Trying to make the program. He may not have enough speed to do it. It's going to need to improve here on lap 4 to get him into the program. To the line. Is it enough for Jordan McGraw? The answer is no, just short. Just short of 225.944. Was fast enough yesterday, not fast enough today. Jordan McGraw will not race in the FTF Rectangle 500.
Teemu Toyka might be finished, but he's not finished just yet.
So close there for Brandon McGraw. And something I want to point out here, I know that Griffin Jones has started, but he had a huge moment in turn 3 on his out lap, and we're going to see if that suffers for his first time lap.
Have to wait and see. He was 36th. 39.742. Not a bad first lap. It's a 226.461. If he can put together another 226, he might have a shot at it.
If I remember correctly, it was Teemu that was just flirting with this identical lap times on lap 1 and 2, and then also identical lap times on 3 and 4 with a little bit of fall off, and certainly looks to seem like Griffin Jones is able to keep the mile an hour up down the straightaways. Second lap comes in a little bit more of a fall off, but still in the 226s.
We are down to the last 4 cars. 3 cars left here after Griffin Jones to try and make their way into the FTF Rectangle 500. Wrestling over 3 spots. It's Sean Begley, Harry Grindell, Robert Lowry. Currently 35th, 36th, 37th off their times yesterday. They'll have 1 shot. Here comes Jones. Is it enough?
Looked completely clean on this lap. I'm seeing no troubles for Griffin Jones whatsoever. 225.9 on lap 3. That's a great lap.
Pretty much right in line, just off from Tyler Williams' lap here. This could be enough to bump Teemu Toika out of the show, but he needs a flawless lap 4 as well. Down the back stretch for the final time.
If he can keep this up, this might be good enough to put Jay Cook in danger. If anything, it might put Cook down in 33rd. But it all comes down to lap 4 here. Maybe a little bit of a wiggle out of turn 3 there for Griffin Jones. But it all comes down to this. Out of turn 4 to the Yard of Bricks. Can he bump Jay Cook out? Can he put himself in an even more comfortable spot in 32nd?
Griffin Jones crosses the Yard of Bricks, and he is 33rd. A 226.019. Griffin Jones currently in, but that puts him immediately on the cut line. Sean Begley is to work his first lap, a 39.707. That's pretty quick for an opening lap, up well into the 226s.
I think that's the fastest first lap that we've seen today out of these competitors. Definitely going to have to keep an eye on Sean as he rounds 3 and 4 on lap number 2.
Much faster than his first lap in the attempt that he kept from yesterday. That was a 39.766. So faster opening lap for Begley. Lap number 2 at the line. Another 37.9. We'll wait for scoring to update here. Lap number 1, a 226.660. Lap number 2, well into the 226s. Uh-oh, Sean Begley may have a run.
This is big for Sean Begley. Remember, he was in the field when we started qualifying tonight, so he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's been bumped out, but he made the field last night for good reason. He beat every single one of these drivers except for Tyler Williams, who didn't get a run in entirely, but this is Sean Begley's real speed here. It's looked pretty clean on lap 3. Doesn't look like anything's scaring him just yet. If lap 3 is in the 226s, he's going to be completely safe here, I think. Not quite. He's fallen to a 225.8. He's still pretty safe here, but he needs to make sure to stop the bleeding here on lap 4.
He's right around where Williams was at as far as pace is concerned. But remember, lap 3 and lap 4 for Williams were all but identical. If Begley falls off too much, that could drop him to 32nd or 33rd. They're all really, really close for the final 3 spots. Through turn 3, coming to turn 4. Can Sean Begley get it in the show? To the Yard of Bricks. Sean Begley, is he in? Yes, a 226.104. He ties Williams. He's in front of Williams. That bumps out Jones.
Break out the 10,000th spot on the decimal points, but Begley was quicker, and now a 226 isn't even good enough to make the field. You're going to have to do some big work here. If you are Grindel, if you are Lowry, both of those drivers, again, were also in the field. They were in the final 3 spots coming into tonight. But can any of them match what Begley did?
A big opening lap from Grindel, faster than his quickest lap from yesterday. Harry Grindel trying to come up big here with 2 men out and 3 men on. All the pressure in the world on driver number 70.
Harry Grindel with a really fast first lap. We'll see what he comes across the line with here on lap number 2. When one thing I love about this format that we're seeing tonight, another good lap in the 226s from Harry. These competitors are getting faster and faster as the night goes on, and we're definitely seeing that right now.
His first 2 laps are on par to put him in the top 25. Let's see where these last 2 go. Harry Grindel, if he can put 2 strong laps together here, could find himself in the program for Friday, and that would bump out Jay Cook, and he had a tremendous run. That could put Tyler Williams still on the cut line.
Oh, no.
A big fall-off, though, from Grindel on lap 3. He falls to a 229.7. He's still doing okay, but he's got to stop the bleeding here.
The average should, I think, still be good enough for P1. I can't do that level of math in my head. I dropped out of Calc 2 after 2 weeks, but I think things are going to be good here for Harry Grindel from Bolton, from the UK. It's pretty late there. I think it's about 2 a.m. for him, but No signs of sleepiness for him. It's been a very solid run so far, but the fall off was big on the last lap. Here he comes to the yard of bricks. He's going to need, I think, probably to keep it in the 39.8s here, to keep it in the 225.7s.
Bedgley already locked in. Will Grindel join him? No! A 226.043. Harry Grindel is out. He will not race in the FTF Rectangle 500. It's all down to Robert Lowry. Solid opening lap. A 39.729. This is the last driver to go. So that'll lock in Williams and Bedgley here. Barring any last-second runs, this is the last guy to go.
As he comes through 4, wow, really low through 4, flirted with that curb, and that can really mean danger with how the car acts out here as he crosses start-finish. Another good lap in the 226s, but we'll see if the consistency stays up for lap number 3.
Good stuff from Lowry down the back straightaway. 226.5, 226.1, his first 2 laps. Just a little bit off from where Grindel was, but it was Grindel's 3rd and 4th lap that cost him a shot to race on Friday. Here he comes through 3 and 4. Back to the start-finish line. Williams locked in. Jay Cook trying to hope he can make it. Lap number 3. Another big fall off, a 225.6. That could be it.
That could be it. Unless he can find some speed here on lap number 4, he might be able to save himself. But if the fall off continues, he's done. I think right now, on average, he's below Jay Cook. He just needs to get a little bit faster. Maybe there was a mistake. I didn't see any mistakes outwardly on the previous lap, but this lap looks exactly the same. I don't think there's going to be any miraculous speed here, but can we be proven wrong here? Through turn 4, he's low again. He's almost in the wall on exit. He's hauling.
Robert Lowry to the line. Is it enough? Will he make the FTF Rectangle 500? The answer is no. A 225.974. He is out. Jay Cook is in. Tyler Williams is in. Sean Bedgley is in. Those 3 will race on Friday. If you're in red, you are out.
What a way to end that bump qualifying. I thought for sure the pace of those last 2 guys on those first 2 laps, we were going to have something for the end of the field, but that fall off, wow, both of them on lap 3.
We're going to step aside, go to a break, prep for the top 12. We're not done yet. We get to determine the poll. Now that we know who exactly is racing on Friday, we get to figure out where the top 12 will be. We'll see you then after this here on FTF.GG. Back from Indianapolis and joined by the pizza man, Brayton Lester.
Oh, hello.
Surprise! Welcome to the booth again.
Yes, I'm not gonna lie, I suck at this. I don't even know why I tried to qualify. I knew it was terrible. But I was a hot lap here earlier. Let me tell you, I broke the track record earlier in my mind.
I mean, it always feels faster when you're in the cockpit, but I do see on the left side. That's the most important thing. The cover was on the piano before, but it's back out.
Yes, actually, it's a rolly up piano. I can roll it up.
What?
And yeah, it's like
I've never seen that before.
Super cool. I got it for Christmas. I'm gonna have it in the car at Daytona, February, if they let me. So, I'm gonna start playing Freebird going down the back stretch.
That's better than mine. I said you should play "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" to reclaim it for racing. Maybe you can play the Italian song. You know, da 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 da.
Yeah, I'm not following here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not very musically inclined. I was in show choir in 5th grade, and it kicked me out of show choir in a public elementary school. So,
yeah, if you couldn't tell, we still got like 4 minutes to fill here. So, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about pizza.
Man. Let's talk about pizza. It's a great thing. I don't think it helped me tonight. Had a little off balance car, I think, from a little too much pizza this afternoon. So, yeah, that was it. I think that's what killed me was the pizza. I might have over pizzaed it, and that's what killed our run there, I think.
I think I am hearing Jacob Hitz. Are you correct in saying that the first driver is going?
Yes, sir. Top 12 going at it. There you see all their times pretty much got washed. We are missing at least one. Seth Merchant is not here. If he doesn't show up, he'll start 12th. I thought I was told that there was another one that's not here. But Flash is here. Helton's here. Or no, Helton's not here. So that's the other one we're missing. We're missing Logan Helton as well. So he'll start probably 12th then, and DeMerchant will start 11th. But here comes Stewart. He takes the green flag. And hey, only 45 days until the FTF Bar Visual 500. Registration opens day 1 of the new year, January 1st. That's this Sunday. For more information, go to ftf.gg. Can't wait to do all the work from Daytona here coming up. We got the 24-hour race there coming up. Legends of the Future, that 87 league that we broadcast here on the FTF. They're doing a race at Daytona here in January. We're going to be sick and tired of Daytona by the time February rolls around. I promise you that.
Nate Stewart's been kind of hyping himself up over the past couple of days. He was doing a ton of qualifying practice before last night. Said he was going to make the Fast 12. He was right. He did make the Fast 12. He was 12th, but he's been doing some even more practice over the last 24 hours since last night's qualifying. He wants to be on pole. He's got about 11 spots to jump, and that lap 1 was very good, though. 226.8.
A very nice first lap from Nate Stewart. Let's see if he can keep it up here. And if you want fast times here from Indianapolis and the Dallara IR18s, you're going to get them here in the final stretch. To the line, lap number 2 has some significant fall off. It's a 226.182. So he loses a little more than half a mile an hour from lap 1 to lap 2.
A very big fall off from lap 1 to lap 2. We'll have to keep an eye on the rest of these top 12 guys as they roll in the lap times, but that's been the biggest fall off between laps that we've seen out of all of the cars that have ran tonight.
Lap 3 in the books here from Nate Stewart. His lap still losing time at 225.909 from Nate Stewart. Remember, if you're in the top 6, you'll requalify once again for the pole. So this locks in 7th through 12th.
And depending on if Seth DeMerchant and Logan Helton do actually show up for the end of the session, you might just be locked into the top 10 if you do complete your run here tonight. Nate Stewart clean through turn 3, clean through turn 4 for the final time. Doesn't get too low, but we were starting to see fall off at the level of some of the drivers in 30th and 31st on those last 3 laps.
at the line for Nate Stewart. Obviously, he's P1. 4-lap average of a 226.184. That would have been actually slower than Cozy's time, which was P13 yesterday. So Nate Stewart, not quite with perhaps the lap that he would have wanted, but Jonathan Oates out there now to try and beat his time.
It was really that big momentum fall off between lap 1 and lap 2. You know, the rest of the laps were pretty consistent, but here Jonathan Oates coming through turn 4 for the first time on lap number 1.
Off the corner, down to the line, and we'll see where his first lap will take him. 39.698. That is going to be slower than Nate Stewart on lap 1, just barely, still 226.7.
I guess we do have a moment here while Jonathan Oates goes for his run. Should we talk to our first qualifier, Nate Stewart?
Sure.
Why not? Let's drag Nate Stewart in here. First qualifier of the night, Mr. Nate Stewart. You think you're going to stay up there?
I don't know. I messed up turn 2 on lap 2 pretty bad. I cut down a little bit too early, and it just didn't feel that great. I felt like laps 3 and 4 were pretty good, but I think lap 2 was just a killer lap and is ultimately going to decide whether or not I make the Fast 6. Helton and Seth aren't in here right now, so maybe I'll get lucky and they won't show up and I'll squeak in. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I was trying to get Justin to let me go just a little bit later because this Kansas and Arkansas game is an absolute barn burner right now.
Don't you dare interject other sports into this broadcast. I should.
There's something I never would have expected in a million years. Kansas Arkansas football game. Basketball, I might believe. Football, different story.
Dude, Kansas just put up 15 points to tie it in like a minute. It is insane. I am like in absolute disbelief that Kansas football is taking it to Arkansas. So if Kansas somehow gets this win, it has to be called Arkansas for the next 365 days.
There you have it.
Yeah. I have bad news before we kick you out. Right now, it looks like Jonathan Oates is going to out-qualify you here. Yes, it is. Jonathan Oates to P1.
Oh, that's fine. It is what it is.
Well, the worst you can start here, it looks like Nate is P10 since no DeMerchant, no Logan Helton. Helton will start 12th then. Oh, I see. Well, then, okay, the worst you can qualify is 11th.
Fashionably late.
Look, like I said yesterday, it's not about qualifying position. It's just about track position in the race, and we'll just wait and see what happens on Friday night.
All right, I want a one-word answer here for the final question. Are you going to win on Friday?
No.
Nate Stewart, the driver of the number 1.
The confidence.
P2.
All right, well, here's Nick DeGroot, who, Joey Tebben, this was your pick, or one of your picks, to be really fast. Instead, right now, his first lap, a little off. 39.693 is now Jonathan Oates wants to join the program, your current pole sitter.
Indeed, Jonathan Oates is here, and we'll let Joey Atterbury talk to him.
Yeah, pretty good run. You're currently provisional P1. How did it feel out there for you?
Pretty normal. Felt like a run I did in practice, actually, where the first lap was a little off what I wanted, but that helped out on the next couple of laps. So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting on what everyone else does here. My expectation was I wasn't too sure about getting Fast 6, but I figured I could at least get maybe top 10, so see how it goes. I think right now I'm a little ahead of Nick, so we'll see how his laps continue.
Yeah, Nick DeGroot's out there right now. He's turning some pretty consistent lap times, and he's kind of right on pace with you right now, actually. You're kind of stepping over each other. Talk to us a little bit about the fall off that we're seeing from the competitors in terms of the car. How difficult is it to hang on to the car with the momentum from lap 1 to lap 2?
It's not hard to hang on in terms of keeping control. In terms of keeping lap time, it's a little more tricky. The fall off I'm seeing out of Nick right now is pretty standard from what I had in testing. It's nothing I wouldn't expect. Wow, it's a good third lap. Whew. All right, that's not good for me. But yeah, I mean, you'd expect, I want to say, probably half a tenth between each lap. Maybe that's about what you want to aim for, I think. Probably a little under that, so it's a little difficult to match lap times, but I don't think the handling falls off too much. But it'll also depend on your weight jacker and ARB setup and stuff.
Definitely. Well, I think the worst you can qualify right now with everybody kind of in the pool is 10th place. I know Nick DeGroot's coming around turn 4 for the final time on lap 4. We'll see if he bumps you.
Bad lap. And, ooh, that's close.
It should be right on top of you there. Unfortunately, he is short, slower than you out there. So you will be P9 at worst tonight.
All right. You know, I've done a lot of stuff with Nick. Like I've broadcasted a bunch of races with him in it before. He is really, really good at these IndyCars. So to be able to beat him, that's a good accomplishment for me.
Well, congratulations on that lap out there. And right now, looks like we got Matthew Zwack on the racetrack.
And we do. Matthew Zwack had a triumphant lap to put him in and is trying to stay there right now.
Kind of riding on a high. He won the broadcast we kind of directed people to last night. He won in the 87 cars in Moon Car at Talladega, so riding a little bit of a high here. Does that give him a little bit of a moon boost here? A couple of extra tenths of miles per hour? Maybe.
We'll see. Here's lap 1. And it's pretty solid at 226.809. Out of everybody that has qualified so far, that is the fastest opening lap.
Yeah, that's the only opening lap up in the 226.8 so far. So Matthew Zwack has found something. He was a surprise last night. Not necessarily that I should be surprised that he's successful in qualifying sessions, but I didn't really expect him to be taking the fight to the Connor Harringtons and the Nick DeGroots, but he was. He's been very, very good.
Lap 2. Ooh, a big fall off there at 226.205.
You mentioned it almost a full 100th of a second there slower. I'm sorry, yeah, and it's just, he's got to stop the bleeding coming through 3 and 4. It looks like he's a little bit wide, flirting with the wall there out of 3, and just not sure about the consistency, but these guys, once again, they prove me wrong all the time.
Lap 3, another big fall off of 225.938 compared to your leader, a slower lap 2 and lap 3. So Zwack, even though he came out with a big lap to start, doesn't have enough to really follow through.
I'm feeling a P4 right now, I think. I think that's how it's tracking.
Off the corner. Let's see where he goes. Matthew Zwack. Is it enough to avoid P4? No, a 226.174. That puts him last out of the 4 drivers that have already taken a time. Here's David L. Brown.
I know that Jonathan Oates was pretty casual in that interview, but looking at the timing and scoring board, his time is standing up pretty well right now.
Let's see what David L. Brown can do here on his opening lap. At the line, lap number 1. Fastest of the day, a 226.837.
Big. Very, very big from downtown Dave Brown. I think if he does qualify P1 right now, that locks him into the Fast 6, if I'm mathing correctly. No, not quite. He would have one more driver next to him to lock him into the Fast 6, because there's only 11 drivers in the session right now. But right now, things are tracking very well for him. Just needs to make sure that big first lap doesn't come at the expense of keeping the consistency up on to lap 4.
Lap number 2. Is it quick enough to keep him in the fight? Pretty solid lap 2. That's the fastest lap number 2 out of everybody that has qualified thus far. A 226.426. David L. Brown with an opening 2 laps that may be enough to give him the provisional pole.
Currently tracking as the fastest car we've seen today. Had a little bit of a slide in turn 2, and oh no, he has a huge wiggle. He got on the curb there in turn 3. I would expect that's going to cost him some lap time.
Just 222 miles an hour on exit to turn number 3. That may be enough where it hurts his lap 3 and his lap 4. Lap 3 is a 225.536. David L. Brown had a clutch lap 1 and lap 2. Lap 3 finds trouble. As long as he can rebound here, he may have a shot to go to the final 6 and have a shot at the pole, but it's all dependent on his last lap right here.
And downtown Dave Brown got a little bit too downtown in turn 3 last time. Let's see how he adjusts himself this time. Still very, very low. Manages to stay off the curb that time, but he was still playing with those margins there. Just barely kept it off. He's definitely going to find time on lap 4 here. He's definitely going to be able to recover a little bit, but how much?
At the line, still not good enough of a rebound. A 226.017. The bobble in turn 3 on lap 3 is enough to take out David L. Brown from a shot at what could have been provisional pole.
That little bit of a mistake, and we've seen some cars flirt with that curb, but I think David L. Brown was the first one to kind of get up on it, and we just saw that big wiggle, and it just killed all of the lap time and speed from him.
Make a splash, everybody. It's time for Ian Plash.
Doing a big old slow roll here off pit lane. We haven't seen much of the outlaps for these drivers, but you are seeing what the top drivers in this field are doing. They're not going to build up speed necessarily. They're not going up onto the racetrack to build up speed on the warm-up lap, because you don't really want to do that. You don't want to build up speed too early. You don't want to scrub the tires and wear them out before you need to. So you just want to slow roll it off the pit lane, then start getting up to speed. Any speed that you lose potentially coming into the front straight on lap 1, it's made up for by keeping that little bit of tire life over the course of the rest of the run.
Here's the green flag from Ian Plash. Halfway home here in Fast 12 qualifying.
Pretty shallow on the entry of 2, and the car definitely pushed up wide on the exit of 2, but riding along with Ian, he's really maximizing the track both on the high groove going in and getting it down to the curbs at Apex. I expect this to be a pretty good first lap.
Let's see where he goes. Lap number 1. A 226.837, the same time as David L. Brown on lap 1.
Just don't do what Dave Brown did and don't get into the wall in the exit of turn 2. He's been playing with fire there in these first 2 laps. If he's already getting that tight through turn 2 on the opening laps, I can only imagine how terrifying that's going to be on the final 2 laps.
Brandon Hawken is the next car to go. Here's Plash. Lap number 2 is a 226.119. A little bit off from some of these other guys. Could be in trouble.
Once again, a pretty big fall off between lap 1 and lap 2, and maybe just that's that tire life that Joey was mentioning and having a little bit of extra scrub. We'll see if Plash can kind of hang on to it and stop the bleeding in lap 3.
His third lap to the line. Does he have any improvements? Doesn't fall off as much. It's a 225.994 on lap 3. It's better than Zwack. Better than Stewart. Not as fast as DeGroot or Oates, but much faster than David O. Brown. Plash is going to have a shot here to put himself right in the middle.
Going to be critical here through 3 and 4. He managed to not get into the wall through turn 2. He must have made some in-car adjustments to help the car turn a little bit better. Probably turned the weight jacker up a little bit if he did scare himself off of turn 4 again, getting exceptionally close to the wall, but he's kept it out of him on all 4 laps.
Lap 4 puts him third, a 226.190 with 6 cars to go. Logan Helton is here, the only one not here right now, Seth DeMerchant. Here is Brandon Hawken. Always fast, no matter where we go, no matter what car. He starts lap 1 right here. Let's see what Brandon Hawkenden can do. Coming to the line. Lap 1. 226.717. Not the fastest lap 1, but still pretty solid.
And he has been really shallow into 1 both times. Lap 1 got away with it, but lap 2 scooted up really close to the wall between 1 and 2.
Now, here's the thing. His lap faster than Jonathan Oates on lap 1. Oates did not have that fast of a lap 1. He backed it up, though, with laps 2, 3, and 4. That has been the difference thus far. Let's see where lap number 2 puts him. Pretty solid fall off there, 226.239. Gonna need some help on the final 2 laps.
And Jonathan Oates is officially in the Fast 12 or the Fast 6 right now. Unless Seth DeMerchant just show up late, Jonathan Oates will be locked in. He'll get one more shot in the Fast 6. He doesn't need to worry about that anymore, but he still does need to worry about Brandon Hawken, who was slower on the second lap, but was minimally faster on the first lap. Through turn 4 here, Hawken again tracking it out very, very wide, almost actually clipping the curb on entry. He's using every bit of the track, but looks calculated to me.
I think that Brandon Hawken is going to need a monster last lap here to displace Jonathan Oates out of the top spot, but they are tracking near identical.
We've also just been rated by Mr. Brendan Lichtenberg, or Brendan Hyperstar. Why are you not in the field here, Brendan? What are you doing? Why are you not here on qualifying night?
Looks like that's Brandon Hawken to the 3rd place position there for him on that final lap there, and unfortunately didn't find the speed, but does put him in the 3rd spot, and looks like out there on the racetrack is Connor Harrington, the next car up.
Jacob Oster says he has an alibi, but I'm waiting to hear that alibi. I don't know if I believe that. I think we're gonna name and shame the Raider here, because that's what we do, because we're so gracious. Connor Harrington here, almost in the wall into turn 1, gets very, very high, but I mentioned this yesterday. So much IndyCar experience came into this race as absolutely one of the favorites with all his success in this car over the past couple of years. With private label team hype here, Connor Harrington doing a very, very solid job so far, and I'd say he's probably a lock to make the Fast Six.
Now, Joey, you know these competitors a lot better than I do, and I know we're starting to kind of dwindle down to our fastest cars that we saw yesterday and ultimately set the Fast Six that's going to be coming up here. And Connor Harrington's first lap is in the 226s and not quite as fast as what we've seen out of some of these other cars, but if you give us a prediction, where do you think he's going to end up out of this field of 12 that we're looking at right now?
Well, when he went out early last night, I predicted that he was probably going to stick on pole, but over the course of the night, he was beaten by Josh Parker, by DeMerchant, by Kalanick. He ended up, I think, P4, if I'm remembering correctly. I should probably remember that number exactly, but I have to imagine it will be a Fast Six appearance either way for Connor Harrington here. To the line on lap number 2, waiting for it to come in. It was a 226.552 on lap 1. It's a 226.347 on lap 2. Slower on lap 1 than Jonathan Oates, about equal on lap 2 to Jonathan Oates. Harrington excels in consistency over the course of these runs, so I think we might not have seen the big speed on lap 1. I think he'll make up for it on laps 3 and 4, though.
As he comes out of turn 4 here, I couldn't agree more with you. The consistency from lap 1 to lap 2 is right on top of each other, doing exactly what he needs to do. And look at this. This is our first competitor that's been able to put down 226s in this type of range all night, and minimum fall off from lap 1, 2, and 3 right now from Connor Harrington. He's tracking very good.
That is the fastest lap 3 by 1/10 of a mile per hour. Connor Harrington is tracking exceptionally well here. He's just got to keep it in the confines of the track here on lap 4. Through turn 3, looks perfectly fine. Through turn 4, looks mean, clean, and green. Here comes Connor Harrington for lap number 4. Easily the most consistent run we've seen in the Fast 12 so far. Lap number 4 for Connor Harrington. It's a 225.9. It's going to be good enough for P3. He was consistent, just wasn't consistently fast enough, though, again.
So close. Really between the entire top 6, but I'm looking at really that top 3, top 4 is just so close between all of those competitors. And looks like we have Logan Helton in the 063 machine going down the back straight on his first timed lap.
And we've got a sign of life from Jacob Hitz.
Yes, I think we're going to... I don't know what happened. It's done this to me before, but usually if I go into Voicemeeter and change one thing, it fixes it. But for whatever reason, my computer just stopped picking up. Rather, it was my mixer that stopped picking up my microphone. It didn't exist. So we're good now. And so far, so good. As on the racetrack right now, we see Logan Helton. We're down to the final couple of folks here.
And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think Logan Helton put down the fastest, or one of the fastest first laps that we've seen so far.
He was very fast yesterday. You're exactly right. Let's see what lap number 2 brings for him here. Lap number 1 was very speedy. Number 2, second verse. What? There we go. Not quite the same as the first. This is 226.335.
Joey was right. That was the fastest lap 1 so far tonight. That was faster than David Brown, but it was also slower than David Brown on lap number 2, slower than Jonathan Oates on lap number 2, slower than Nick DeGroot on lap number 2. Again, it's the trade-off of big speed on lap 1 and then losing that speed on the next couple of laps. Is he going to fall off even more on lap 3? Yes, down into the 226 zeros already.
Helton's in danger here of being on the line. He may wind up right around Nate Stewart territory here, depending on how lap number 4 turns out for the driver of the 63. out of Florida through 3 and 4 on his last lap to the line. And let's see where he goes.
We've seen
Off the
Jonathan,
corner.
We've seen Jonathan Oates really hold it together on lap 4. We're going to see if Logan Helton can do it because he's right there. Just a touch slower. You're right. That's going to put him right there in 3rd place, Jacob.
Right behind DeGroot, a 226.278. That's going to lock him in. So he will race for the pole. Nate Stewart is out, flashes the bubble. Here's Alex Kolonix.
Connor Harrington, as of right now, P4. I think because Seth DeMerchant isn't here, that means you have clinched your way into the Fast Six.
Yeah, thank God Seth hasn't shown up. God, that was the worst lap 1 I've ran the entire week. Really good time for that to happen. Luckily, we were able to put together the lap 2 and 3 that we think we can do, and we'll get a second shot at it. Hopefully here for the pole, the way things are has shaken out now. I guess Justin told me that we're locked in, so thank God. But that was a very scary lap 1.
Yeah, I won't tell you to reveal any secrets or anything, but what specifically do you need to change coming into the Fast Six? What more do you need? What do you need to do on lap 1? What do you need to resolve the mistakes on? How are you going to put it on pole?
I need to locate an apex and some skill, really, just for lap 1. I mean, we've done lap 1s that are on par with what Kolonix just ran. I mean, and are actually a little bit better than that in testing, so we'll see. That's a very good lap 1, though, from him. But who knows? We'll see if we can put one together.
Yeah, he was almost in the 227s on lap 1. That was a 226.946 on lap 1, Jake. 226.3 on lap 2, though. It's starting to fall off.
I think the fastest lap so far
easily
this weekend, but Kolonix, a 226.946 on lap 1. He fell off more than a half mile an hour on lap number 2. If he can keep the speed up, he's going to put himself, I think, into the top 6, but he's got to stay consistent in these final 2 laps.
He's got to keep it in the 226s is what we've really seen out of these competitors. If you want a shot at the top of the spot right now, at least provisionally, because we still got to go to these Fast Six, you got to keep it in the 226s, and he does just that.
Clutch 3rd lap from Alex Kolonix. A cool story behind that paint scheme. Jordan Worth, the guy that painted it, said that Tony Stewart ran that scheme on the sim at one point. I don't know why, but Tony liked it, so he ran it for a little bit. Kolonix through 3 and 4, trying to put himself in a position to run for the pole. Off the corner, down the front straightaway. Does Kolonix have enough to the Art of Bricks? Yes, he does. Pole from Alex Kolonix, a 226.337.
That's what that big lap 1 can do for you. It was a completely normal, par for the course run on lap 2, 3, and 4, but he just exploded on lap 1, almost got in the 227s. That makes me wonder now, what can Josh Parker do? Could Josh Parker give us our first 227 mile per hour lap?
Josh Parker is taking an excruciating long time to line up. There we go. Now we're good. Let's talk with the man who is in. Is Parker's our last one to go, Logan Helton.
Yeah, Helton's safe in the Fast Six, and he's safe in the arms of Joey Atterbury, too.
Oh, no. Great. Logan Helton, you did a terrific job qualifying out there. Currently P4. Talk to us about those laps you did.
Man, those were some of the laps of all time. I thought I did not do good at all. I felt really tight, but, with the IndyCar, I did not want to make it any looser than I was comfortable with, so I just dealt with it, scrubbed the right front off a little bit too much. So I couldn't really get the turn I was looking for to the corner. So I'm just going to go out in the next run, and I'm going to just... I really don't know what I'm going to try. I'm going to just try and use the experience I get from the last one. I don't even know what I'm going to change, but I know for a fact that we're going to go out there, and we are qualifying top 6 That's right. That was a sarcastic comment because obviously we're top 6. But I have no idea what's going to happen here. I think it's I'm just having fun, if I'm being quite honest, and I'm just now noticing there are 3 people in this channel that name starts with J.
Yes,
that's been an issue all weekend.
We just kind of play musical names over here in the booth, but Logan, yes, looking forward, you're going to be locked into the top 6 here. Josh Parker just put down his first lap, one of the fastest laps of the weekend, actually, so he's definitely going to be a competitor as long as he keeps it up. Looking into the top 6, what are you going to change and what are you going to focus on?
I think the thing I'm going to have to change is I think it's something with my entry, or maybe it's the exit. It's either one, because I was just tight, a lot tighter than I was expecting. But I'm not cranking the wheel any more than what I was, because then I know for a fact I'll be scrubbing off speed. So it's just I got to find the fine line, but it's too late to back out and go into a test session. So I'm just going to roll with it, see what we get. You know, top 6 starting spot, front 2 rows. I'll take that. So I'm either, you know what, I'm going for the pole, and if it don't work, I better be starting 6th.
Well, good luck out there in the Fast 6, and I know that Tebin has changed his name, so now that you can identify us a little bit better in here.
Yes, all right. I see. I was wondering what the heck just happened with my eyes, because I'm seeing 2 of me. And
I am culturally appropriating the name Logan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And Josh Parker had his fastest lap 2 of anybody. Certainly got our eyes on him right now as he's the final qualifier in the top 12.
And you wonder why he's the final qualifier. He was P1 after yesterday, and right now he is putting himself far above everybody else. As long as he can replicate this deal in the final 6, he may be your pole sitter for Friday's race. Down the back straightaway into turn number 3. The last go for Josh Parker. It's Brandon Hawken that's on the cutting floor right now. And unless Parker J.R. Hildebrands this deal, I think we're saying goodbye to Brandon Hawken here. To the line. Josh Parker hits the start-finish line. Top of the board, a 226.367. He has the provisional pole, and he's moving on to the Fast 6.
An identical 4th lap to Kalonix and an identical 3rd lap to Jonathan Oates. But the thing that was not identical was that lap number 2. That was the thing that really helped Josh Parker there. He was slower on lap 1 as well. But big time consistency for Parker. P1 yesterday, P1 this time. How the heck do you beat this guy to pole?
The final 6 get to do battle. It's Parker, Kolonix, Oates, DeGroot, Helton, and Harrington for the pole after this. And then there were 6 from Indianapolis. Connor Harrington draws first blood. He will challenge 5 others for the pole here from Indianapolis. And now he gets it up to speed now that he's left the cone. Harrington leads us off. Then it's Helton, DeGroot, Oates, Kolonix, Parker. Fastest car lines up in the pole position for the FTF Rectangle 500 on Friday.
Connor told us in that interview that lap 1 was where it all fell apart, so the ultimate pressure is going to be on him here on lap 1. He knows he has the rest of the run figured out. He knows he has speed. He knows he has consistency. But like he said, he needs to find the apex, and he's absolutely found it in turn 1 there. Washes out almost into the wall, but wasn't understeering. That looked completely deliberate, using every inch of the track here. He's found the apexes. Connor Harrington looks back in his element.
Yeah, that was the first lap, I think, all weekend where I was like, uh-oh, he's going to hit the wall. All the others I've been pretty confident. That was the first one where I grimaced like, uh-oh, he's going to wreck. But so far, so good for Harrington. Let's see what lap number 1 looks like. This one looks certainly very fast. We'll see where he's at the line. What's it going to be? A 226.900. Not the fastest lap, but an improvement from his first lap last time around.
Might not be the fastest, but it is one of the fastest out there. Connor Harrington is definitely wringing the neck of this machine.
Down the back stretch into 3. Let's see what Harrington can do here on lap number 2. Definitely has the sleeves rolled up, ready to work here on this second attempt, knowing that he's leaving it all on the line for the pole position. Lap number 2 at the stripe. A 226.398, some fall off there on lap 2.
Pretty big fall off on lap 2. Still faster than most people, but that's slower than P7 David Brown's, or P11 David Brown's lap 2 rather. So he's faster than some, not quite as fast as others. That tells me that there's definitely going to be more speed on the board for some of the drivers who come later, but can he keep up the consistency on 3 and 4? This is where he was at his best on the first run. He was able to minimize the bleeding, as we keep saying tonight. He's been able to minimize the speed loss. I think all 4 laps will probably be in the 226s, but he needs to make sure he can keep it consistent here. Lap number 3, 226.1.
Not bad. Let's see what he can do on lap 4.
Really good third lap here from Connor Harrington. I'm just going back to these 12 competitors that we just saw. It was really the big fall off on lap 2 to 3 is what dictated kind of where these guys fell on the timing and scoring chart. And Connor Harrington, very impressive on the fall off for lap 2 to 3.
Here's Harrington. He'll be number 1. The question is, for how long? Down to the stripe. What's the watermark going to be from Connor Harrington? A 226.332. That is enough. Faster than his first attempt by far. That would have put him 3rd in that first round. Here's Logan Helton.
Not getting quite as close to the walls on exit as Connor Harrington was. Left a little bit more margin on the exit of 2 there. Where Connor Harrington really got hurt was on lap 4 there. It was a 225.875 on lap 4. Fell below the 226s. That was actually worse than in his initial run. So even though he did find that extra speed on lap 1, honestly, he might have traded that for a little bit less speed on the final lap here. But here comes Logan Helton for lap 1.
A 226.946. That is the fastest lap of the day, I do believe.
We lost the Kolonix lap time from the Fast 12, but even if it isn't the fastest, it's up there.
Kolonix was the same time. So
I think that tells me that's going to be our upper limit. We're not going to get in the 227s.
Helton's lap 2. Significant fall off by 1/10 of a second, a 226.398.
significant fall off, but Jacob, I want to point something out here is that when these cars have this tremendous speed, they see about a 1/10 of a second fall off, and it's about those drivers that can kind of see that 800th versus 1/10 of a second fall off and keep that momentum up, because ultimately that's what translates into that lap 3, lap 4 pace.
Coming to lap number 3. At the line. Some more fall off, but another 226.097.
Slower than Connor Harrington. It's looking like a P2 run for Logan Helton, unless he can do what Harrington was unable to do and keep up the speed on the final lap and not fall below the 226s, but it's tracking like that's going to be the case. There's no real mistakes we can point out here. There's no errors that I think we're going to be able to point out in the entirety of the top 6 here. All of these drivers have mastered it to their own levels. It's just a question of who can extract the most speed on those perfect laps.
The Milton, Florida native goes to the top. 226.346. Enough for P1.
Was able to hang on to that last lap 4 lap time in terms of losing that momentum, and that's ultimately will put him up into provisional pole right now. But Nick DeGroot coming to start his lap 1.
Yeah, dragging Connor Harrington in right as he gets demoted down to P2, but pretty close stuff up at the top, Connor, and you're guaranteed to start in the top 6.
Yeah, which is good. Just not a great lap 4. I mean, we didn't hate lap 1, but that's how it goes. It's track changes just a little bit, and you just try to get a little bit extra, and you end up hurting that rear tire too much, and that's what ultimately kills you.
So what's the plan for the next 48 hours or so, or 46 hours or so until we go racing on Friday night? Any extra practice you need to do, or are you locked in?
Yeah, I mean, we got to see how the race set drives. It'll be interesting to see. I think it's similar default weather to what we run, like the Fix 500 and stuff like that. Interesting to see what they put out as a setup, and I think we're just going to have to run through some strategy options for the race. Not that I don't have faith in this field, but there are some guys that haven't driven this car in the field, and it's a whole different animal when there's 20 or 30 cars in front of you and you got to fight dirty air. I think the beginning of the race might be a little hectic, and then hopefully it'll string out, and maybe we can play some strategy cards to get everything get up to the front.
And congrats on making the first 2 rows. Enjoy your Thursday off, and we'll see you on Friday night.
Yep, thanks guys. Cheers.
Connor Harrington, P2 at the moment. Nick DeGroot right now, is he looking like he's going to demote Harrington into P3? Potentially. It's looking about equal.
Pretty solid opening lap. Just barely faster than Harrington. Lap number 2 slower, though. Needs some help on lap 3 and 4. Coming around to complete lap number 3 right here off the corner. Down to the start-finish line. And for Nick DeGroot, lap number 3 will be a 225.977. Not going to be enough.
Oh, just had that fall off. I noticed he got on the curb in turn 3 on lap 3 there. Think it might have cost him just a little bit of lap time, but I don't see a monster lap happening out of all the cars that we've seen. It just continues to fall off. Maybe they're able to hold station on lap 4.
Through turn 4. Can Nick DeGroot avoid starting 6th? To the line. Is his lap 4 good enough? No. 226.275. He falls to P3, locks him up at the start-finish line, and this brings up Jonathan Oates through the smoke to start his run.
I don't know if I like that move from Nick DeGroot, because he didn't hold up. Jonathan Oates, who was coming up after. But a cloud of smoke, that's going to be a little bit of a distraction for Jonathan Oates as it's dissipating. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to get a rerun from that, but I don't like that distraction very much.
A bold strategy, let's put it that way. For DeGroot, he actually does not improve. from the first attempt to this attempt, Helton and Harrington did on their runs. Here's Oates on his lap 1. Remember, it was the slowest lap 1, I believe, out of everybody in attempt number 1 here in the Fast 6. A 226.872, pretty fast.
It was the consistency that was Jonathan Oates' name of the game, and that's what really advanced him into this top 6 here. But lap number 1, he's showing some speed here on this qualifying effort. We'll see if he keeps up the consistency that we saw from the first round.
Off turn 4, back to the yard of bricks. The second lap from Jonathan Oates to the start-finish line. It will be a 226.273. Lot of fall off on lap number 2. The most out of everybody.
Yeah, I don't know if we're seeing the same consistency that we saw in his initial run. I think he's trying to extract a little bit more speed out of the car, and in doing that, he's just kind of pushing a little bit too hard, potentially. It's going to come down to lap 3. He was slower on lap 1 than everybody else. He was slower on lap 2 than everybody else. If he's going to do anything, it needs to be keeping these laps 3 and 4 into the 226s and not falling into the 225s like just about everybody else has.
Lap 3, the deal breaker for Jonathan Oates at the line. A 225.938.
Not going to do it. He's going to need a hero lap on lap 4, but even then, I just don't see it putting it up there at the top.
Jonathan Oates was in position number 3. Looks like he's going to be starting worse off than that come green flag on Friday. Here comes Oates off the corner. He'll see the checkered flag. The next time he sees the checkers will be at the end of 500 miles. And for Jonathan Oates, an improvement on lap 4. It puts him third, a 226.288.
That is not something we see often, the improvement on lap 4. That tells me there was actually a mistake or something on lap number 3.
Speaking of mistake.
Oh, dear.
Kalanick's, hold on. Kalanick spun it. You saw the smoke there in between turns 1 and 2. Kalanick spun out, but he did not reset. This is the same attempt. He's coming to the green. Here's what happened. Actually, this is just after. He catches the grass, and he comes up and spins it around on the racetrack.
That's going to wear the tires a little bit extra, but he was able to get it back on the warm-up lane. He didn't lose any speed necessarily, but he's going to lose some tire life, I think, from that.
I was just going to say that. I wonder what that's going to do in terms of the tire life. Obviously, we're going to see what the lap 1 speed is here, but I'm more concerned about the lap 4 speed.
I'm also thinking, we've seen things in the past where if you spin on the pit exit, it does something, to the right side tires, and maybe heats them up a little bit more than they wouldn't otherwise, the left side tires rather. So I'm not going to say it was deliberate, but the speed will tell us if it gave him anything extra. No, it's slower than everybody else. That was not deliberate. That was not to get any sort of advantage. Kalanick has kind of pooped himself into P5.
226.769 on lap 1. Let's see if lap number 2 has any improvements. This one a 226.432. If he can have a good lap 3 and 4, he may be in business.
Oh, car looks really out of the racetrack in 1 and 2. I'm sure he's going to make some weight jacker adjustments right now, but really neutral on the steering through 1 and 2 there.
To the line. Lap 3 for Kalanick. Josh Parker, the only one left. Lap 3 at 226.148. Not bad, in line with Harrington, and he's P2. And a faster lap 2 than Harrington. If he can get a good lap 4 out of this.
It was faster than Helton on laps 2 and 3 as well. The problem just is he was 0.2 of a mile per hour slower than Logan Helton on lap 1. So all the advantage he's getting on laps 2 and 3, it's kind of evened out. Here he comes through the final corner, very, very low, minimizing the distance. Can he hold it back on lap 4?
Can he improve his time like Oates did at the Yard of Bricks? It puts him second, a 226.334, just beating Harrington out. And Kalanick cementing his spot on the front row for the FTF Rectangle 500.
It was really that lap 3 that got Kalanick that spot there. Had pretty big fall off into the 225s on lap 4, but that lap 3, great job from Alex.
And then there was one, Josh Parker, to try and put it on the pole. He knows what he has to beat, a 4-lap average of 226.346 miles an hour to start P1 in Friday night's FTF.GG Rectangle 500 that you'll see live here on FTF. We go live at 8:30. Lap number 1 begins now.
Little bit wide in turn 2. Got, I think, a little bit tight in the middle of the corner. Didn't lift out of it, but did look like there was a little bit of a jerk of the steering there on exit to keep it out of the wall, to keep it a little bit straighter in a straight line. I'm not sure how fast this lap 1 is going to be. The fastest lap on lap 1 of all this weekend has been Logan Helton, 226.946. Parker's going to need to match that if he wants to put it on pole.
Fastest lap of his day. It's a 226.935. Not as fast as Helton's, but a blistering lap from Josh Parker to kick this off.
He is right on track here, and what was really impressive from his top 12 qualifying effort was this lap right here. Lap number 2 had the least amount of fall off compared to all of the other competitors, and this car, this 41 machine, looks hooked up right now, and Josh Parker is fast.
Lap 2 falls off roughly a tenth of 226.444. Fastest lap 2 out of everybody that is requalified.
Yeah, faster than Kalanick's on lap 2, and Alex Kalanick would be on pole right now if he didn't have that pit exit spin, if he didn't have that slow lap 1, which bodes very, very well for Josh Parker here through turn 3. He's got this place figured out. He's done this so many times. He's put it P1 provisionally twice. It would be a shock if he didn't end up P1 after all this effort.
It just takes one mistake, though. Lap number 3 here for Parker. A 226.102. A rather slow lap 3, slower than Kalanick's and Harrington. Let's see if he can hold on lap 4.
Really going to come down to lap 4 here. His lap 3 is better than his last run, but it's all going to come down to these final 2 turns.
Josh Parker, through 3 and 4, was the fastest man in town yesterday. The fastest man in town in round number 1. Is he going to be the fastest man in Speedway, Indiana tonight? Down the front straightaway to the Yard of Bricks. Here's Josh Parker at the line. Will it be enough? Yes, it is. A 226.367. Josh Parker with another blinding qualifying run will start from pole position tomorrow.
Should we be surprised? Should we be surprised at all? I don't think so. He's been the fastest all month long. All week long, I guess I should say. It's been a very, very condensed month of December here at Indianapolis, but he's got a huge target on his back now. He'll start from pole on Friday night. Now he's got to match this qualifying pace on race day.
And of course, not tomorrow. I meant Friday. I was excited. But Josh Parker does it, and he will start P1 in the FTF.GG Rectangle 500. In the meantime, here's Alex Kalanick. He'll start from position number 3.
Yeah, Alex Kalanick, what happened on the pit exit there?
I was trying something. I went through the pit exit a bit slower in a higher gear, and I think the car didn't react to it very well. There's a little hump going through the pit exit there in turn 1, and when I went over it, the car went around on me. So, unfortunate too, because man, I had the speed to match Parker there, but because that hurt my lap 1 so much, just missed out on it.
Starting on the outside of the front row on race day, though, on Friday, how are you feeling coming into that? Do you think the outside might be one of the places to be to survive some of the lap 1 chaos, or how are you feeling?
It makes me very nervous, that's for sure, because you're right there in the outside wall, and you got 2 guys, and who knows who's going to be behind them that's going to be next to you out of turn 1 just because they have such a short route. I honestly almost wish I qualified 4th. Honestly, I'd rather be on the inside.
By the way, Zach Johnson, I think we have Alex Kolnick's on cams here, so hopefully we can pull him up and see the old background there and finally get him on camera there. But I don't even know what else to talk about. I'm destroyed by that Josh Parker run. That was very, very. But there he is. There is Alex Kolnick finally on screen there. Is the spirit of Dale Jr. in the background going to help you?
Yeah, we got the Dale sign over there turning the wrong direction, but yeah, no, it's good. Actually, we got the better Dale sign over yonder, right above the computer there.
Oh, so, awesome!
That's the real hero right there. But this is IndyCar, so that's not going to do very much for me. But yeah, hopes are high starting up front, so we got the advantage of a bit of clean air, but we're not going to be burning fuel being the leader, at least. So that's kind of hopefully the plan. Hopefully we go green for a good while, and I could really take advantage of a good track position, but being in some draft. But gonna have to do a lot of practice to figure out how to run behind people in this car.
What's the poster on the other side of the window behind you? You got the Dale Jr. on one side. What's the, there's a blue one.
Oh, that was an art class project. That's of me.
Oh, that's of you?
Yeah.
All right, on race day, I want to see that in front of the camera. I want to see that as your avatar. You'll be like a VTuber, but with 4th grade with paint jobs.
Well, it doesn't exactly move, so I wouldn't call it a VTuber, but close enough, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know the technology behind that stuff, but congratulations, P3 tonight, outside of the front row. Come race day, we'll see you in 42 hours or so, something like that.
Yeah, and also congrats to Josh Parker, man. Was pretty much perfect all weekend. I don't think he slipped up a single lap or a single corner, so good job to him.
Alex Kolnick's P3 in qualifying, but we've got our pole sitter, officially the pole sitter with Jacob Hitz.
How about it? The fastest man over 2 straight days, 3 different runs. That thing has been nothing but fast since it came off the truck.
Yeah, I don't know, boys. I think you're talking to the next IndyCar legend. We're going to get iRacing sign a new contract. This car cannot go anywhere.
So take us through here, because it took multiple attempts in order to stay P1. Each and every time, you've got a little bit of a different racetrack, whether it's more rubber, less rubber on the racetrack.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with this car. Like I said it yesterday, is I enjoy the fixed setups because, obviously I'm out of my prime when I was in the Coke Series. I don't have the time but I would love to do open setups because it fits my driving style. Fixed setups is very tough, but it fits my lifestyle. So this, you get a little bit of both. You can adjust it kind of you like, when you have clean air, it's kind of really a mute point, but it does make a little bit of a difference, which is what I enjoy. Like I said yesterday, when I run this car one time a year, but it's fun to me. And, it was tough, man. It was kind of nerve-wracking.
How about the plan going into Friday? Now that you know that you will lead the field to the green flag here at Indianapolis.
Well, when I signed up for this event, I thought it would be fun to just run around for 500 miles. Because like I said, I enjoyed these Justin Miller events here. And now I'm going to be in front of everyone. So I don't really have a thought process yet. I'm going to actually think I need to run a couple of these fixed races before Friday and see what these cars do. Like I said, I haven't run it. My one time a year hasn't happened yet. So I think I'm going to join a fixed race and see what it does with the air. I'm kind of familiar with it, with the adjustments. But so to answer your question, I don't know.
Well, best of luck here, Josh, going into tomorrow. And who knows, we may be speaking with the next FTF and the first FTF Rectangle 500 champion. Only time will tell. Best of luck, Josh, and we will see you on Friday.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out for you guys throwing me out of the booth here. JD Lear threw this paint scheme together in T-minus an hour. And this thing is sweet looking. The Hunt Brothers Pizza. What else is on that thing? United Rentals, Honda, Delar, whatever the hell. Anyway, okay, I'll leave.
There you have it. Josh Parker, your pole sitter for Friday's race. And now, here it is, the unofficial starting grid for Friday night's race. 500 miles, 200 laps around Indianapolis. Josh Parker, Logan Helton, Alex Kolonix on the front row. Connor Harrington, Jonathan Oates, Nick DeGroot, row 2. Brandon Hawken, Ian Plash, Nate Stewart, row 3. Matthew Zwack, David L. Brown, Seth DeMerchant rounding out the top 12. And then Michael Cozy Jr., Blake Reynolds, and Nicholas Presley, the fastest 3 remaining from yesterday's session on down through the list.
Got the difficult middle part of the grid here. This is where some of the danger tends to happen on lap 1. Justin Malillo there, kind of dead in the middle of the field. A lot of drivers who improved yesterday. Aaron Brown, Anthony Kroback, Chris Robertson finding themselves higher in the field than they initially were. Seth Eggert going to be riding high after surviving today, replacing Ryan Naraki in that final locked-in spot. And then we get to the last row. All the guys who went through all of this stress tonight, they're going to be sleeping well tonight. Begley, Williams, Cook, they might be on the last row, but they're in the field.
With Joey Atterbury, it's your runner-up, Logan Helton.
Logan, congratulations on that second starting spot on Friday for the Rectangle 500. We're all confused and excited over here for this race. You looking forward to starting in the middle?
I am looking forward to starting in the middle, and I'm so glad y'all pulled me up to be interviewed. I was getting scared I was going to be lonely tonight and couldn't leave off with the interview, so I really appreciate it. I don't know what to expect for this race. I don't run these Delara cars a whole lot, and I don't run this rectangle track a whole lot, so we're just going to go out there and we're going to try and win the thing. Coming into these couple of days, I had no idea I'd be starting second in this race, so I'll take that any day. And just thanks to Justin and everyone for putting this event on at FTF. Thank you to you guys for broadcasting all this stuff. Thanks to my white paint scheme with my purple mirrors and my number 63 on the pillar in the center of the car. And I really don't know what to say other than I'm just excited for this race.
Well, lots of confidence riding into the race. That's always a good thing. And you said you're going to go out and win the thing. Do you have much experience when you're a little bit further back in the dirty air? I know that being up front, especially on the front row, is huge here at this rectangle track. And you going to do any preparation further back in the pack for Friday's race?
Well, the only I can't say that word. The only Delara races that I have done, I've started in the back, and I've had to deal with dirty air. So starting up front is definitely new to me. So you know what? I might go tomorrow or Friday before the race, and I might just run some solo laps around, changing weight jack or changing stiffness or whatever, to see what it does. Because if I'm being quite honest, I did not change a single thing for my Q runs tonight at all during my run, and I know apparently that's a huge thing. So I feel like I could have had pole if I had more time to figure out what that did, but I just hopped in here and ran laps, and we were quick enough to get second. So again, I was happy with that. So we'll run some solo laps tomorrow and Friday, and I'll also hop in maybe some AI races if they have that for this car.
Awesome. Well, congratulations once again on that second starting spot for the Rectangle 500 on Friday, and we'll see you here in just a couple days.
Thank you guys very much. Real quick, just like to thank you guys again for putting this race on. I'd like to thank my Cosman for everything he does. Justin Brown for everything he does. Splash and Go, all them guys. Roasted Gems Coffee as well. That's all I got. Thank you guys for having me.
There you have it, Logan Helton. He will start in second on Friday. So, guys, that's it. That's the qualifying done. The only thing left now, the big one, the 500-mile, 200-lap race coming up on Friday.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself tomorrow. There's no more qualifying. There's no more practice. We just gotta sit here and wait for Friday. It's like the days before Christmas all over again.
Well, you could be here for Legends of the Future tomorrow, which is at like 8:45 or something. I know we need somebody, so if you're interested, come on by. Zach Johnson's begging over Discord. But anyway, Joey Atterbury.
I really enjoyed the time here tonight, especially at this rectangle track, and ultimately Josh Parker taking home that pole position. It was great to see just the natural flow of going from slowest to fastest and that natural rise in competition. It's always fun to see out there, especially at this racetrack and car combo.
The field is set. And, well, there's only one thing left to do at this point, to play back home again at Indiana, drop the green flag, and let them go at it. Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern is when we go live for the FTF Rectangle 500. Hey, I want to thank Justin Melillo for putting this whole thing on and running this thing over these last 2 days. Thank everybody that's been in the booth. Zach Johnson, our producer. Alongside me tonight, Joey Atterbury and Joey Tebben. I'm Jacob Pitts. We'll see you Friday. Josh Parker, your pole sitter for the FTF Rectangle 500.